Hey everybody, Graham Alexander here from the Victor Talk Machine Company. We're here at our offices, and we're going to walk out of the studio here. Today we'd like to introduce a new series that we call His Master's Voice. Victor Talk Machine Company's His Master's Voice series of interviews. These are interviews with music industry titans and musicians that we really love and that we feel like there's a lot of information to be learned from them. And today, for our first interview, we'd like to present Mr. Otis Williams, the founder of the Temptations. He came to the vault of Victor Records maybe, I'm going to say about May of 2018, and he's such a wonderful person. If you want to find out more about the vault of Victor Records, head to victorrecords.com, and if you get a chance, make sure you listen on a Victor Victrola. Thanks. Bye.
I want to thank the Temptations that are here with us tonight. Please give a big round of applause. This is Dr. Otis Williams, original member of the Temptations.
Founding member.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And regardless of what they say, they came to see you, Otis.
I learned something a long time ago when we were in Detroit. We played at a place called the 20 Grand. So after the show had finished, I'm getting ready to leave. So this guy and this lady, he walks up to me and he's using some expletives, which I won't do. And man, he said, "Man, my woman, that's all they've been talking about, you damn Temptation." And so as I'm signing the autograph, and he said, "You know what? She ain't lying, y'all some bad MFs." So, but the ladies, so we always cater to the ladies. We don't worry about the guys. Get the ladies first, the guys will follow. Because the guys are going to follow where the ladies go.
Okay, what was Dr. Otis Williams?
Yes, sir.
The atmosphere in Motown when you were recording My Girl, what was it like at Motown? The recording of that song.
Being at Motown, such a fabled, wonderful times being there. I've always said, and I just said it yesterday on TMZ, when Motown came about, God in his infinite wisdom brought that little two-story family flat together that housed all those talented people and creative forces and what have you. So it will never be another Motown because it was so much magic happening there that it's something that I often think about. I said, wow, God really brought you along because, Detroit was raising hell. Detroit was great, until that riot came along. But being at Motown, it was like being at YMCA because we would come up to Motown just to hang out even if we didn't have anything to record, And so it was one of those kind of places which I went there last Monday and brought back a lot of memories. So I love being part of something that will outlive all of us in this room.
Indeed. 1 second.
No, this is a serious question, Pop.
With
all the hits that you guys have, how do you
Right.
decide what songs you put in a show, a live show? Because you've got so many, you can't do them all.
That's true. And like I tell the guys, even as of today, certain songs we will never ever be able to take out of our lineup. My Girl, Ball of Confusion, Just My Imagination, I Wish It Would Rain, Ain't Too Proud to Beg. So with us having a new album coming out Friday, we will interject some of those songs in. But we learned something a long time ago. We made a mistake by taking My Girl out after it sold over 1 million copies, and Paul Williams was the one that would line up the show. So Paul said, "Man, well, My Girl did what it's going to do. We sold over 1 million copies. We can take it out now." We went out at the Apollo, and we did the show without My Girl. The audience called us damn near every name except the Child of God. So we learned that song will forever be in. So we have to work it out because we definitely have to put the couple of new songs from the album called Temptations All the Time. So we will do that, but certain songs will never, ever come out of the Temptations lineup.
Dr. Otis.
Thank you.
So what is your best words of wisdom for unsigned artist coming from the suburbs? Like, what would you say to him to keep him motivated and destined for his dream?
That is the running thread of sameness. You just have to stay devoted to what you believe in. Let nothing and no one sway you from your belief, because, you know, you're going to have that. And I think a lot of times that is something that will test you to see how bad you want it. You know, because you're going to get a lot of naysayers going to be saying, man, you can't go get a job. My old man said that, you know, like in the miniseries, you know. I used to watch my father leave. He worked at Ford's. And I would get up and watch him leave in very inclement weather at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. And my heart went out to him because he was doing that for his family. So one day, like the movie says, I told Daddy, I'm not doing that, because I believed in what I want to do, and I stayed true to it. So it's the same running thread of sameness. If that's something you really want to do and believe, don't let nothing, no one stop you from what your dream is.
I have a question, sir.
If you believe it, you can achieve it. That's all. You go to sleep on that one.
Dr. Otis, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Tyson, I did 20 years in the Air Force and traveled around the world. I was stationed in Germany for 4 years. I got to travel in Paris and really everywhere. And one thing that when they say music is universal, it definitely is.
Right.
When did you realize that the Temptations are more or were more than just in the United States? Like, so, and I'll give you an example. I'm in Germany and they're doing karaoke. They're doing My Girl karaoke. Can't speak a lick of English, but they can sing My Girl. When did it dawn on you, like, man, we are big?
I think one of the times that's really stand out in my mind, we went to Gdansk, Poland. At that time, the communist rule was slowly being broken down. So we went there. Now, you know, they speak Polish. So when we went to the gig and we doing the Papa Was a Rolling Stone, My Girl, they were singing it in English. So after the show finished, I said, how do you guys know about our music? And they said, Temptations? Oh, we're going to black market. We go to black market. You know, oh yeah, even back then. And so there's been many, many times that I realized that this is a very special group, because I'm going to try not to cry on this one. Like I said at a meeting, I get a lot of fan mail. And this one particular fan mail I got, a young lady said, Mr. Williams, would you call my mother? So I called. And she said, hold on, I'll put my mother on the phone. When she got on the phone, she said, I asked God not to take me until I talked to Otis Williams. You know, and I'm trying not to sit up here and cry, because I'm 6'2", 240 pounds. But I was an infant right then and there, because I never would think that that would happen. That's when I knew that what we do, because of you, because it ain't just us. Like I often say, if it wasn't for you, there would be no us. But that's when I knew that this group have a very special message. You know, and I'm raised from Texas by two grandmothers, and I'm steeped in gospel. I used to have to listen to Mahalia Jackson, the Dixie Hummingbirds, the Swan Silvertones. You know, that's my background until I moved to Detroit. And I was inspired from the rock and roll shows that I saw there. But when you become part of Motown, and you start having hit after hit after hit, and here we are 58 years later, and we still being loved like it was back during the days of Yo. Oh yeah, we are here for a reason, and it's not just for singing. We are like a soothing ointment to a troubled soul at times.
Okay, question on this side, Mr. Larry Otis.
Yes.
What is your favorite Temptations recording?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm a big Temptation fan. I'll start off with saying My Girl first. First and foremost, My Girl, and then everything after that. You know, but when I listened to My Girl, I heard My Girl a few days ago. That record was recorded in 1964. And February of 1965 at the Apollo Theater, we sold over 1 million copies. The Beatles sent us a congratulations telegram, as well as Barry. But that song, and here most recently, it's been put in the Congressional Registry of Songs. I never would imagine that I am singing a song that's damn near half as old as I am, and so it's a very special treat, and I mean, I'm speechless at times because when I stop and think about what the Temptations have achieved, and I'm talking about the original Temps, whom I miss very much, David, Eddie, Paul, and Melvin, also Al Bryant, Ollie Woodson, Dennis Edwards, so I've been grouped with a lot of wonderful, talented singers, and at the beginning, I used to be one of the lead singers, but Maurice King, who was our vocal coach, Charlie Atkins, who was our choreographer, and Barry Gordon, he said, Otis, you know what role you are? I said, no, what? You the glue that hold all this together. Yep. And that's it.
That's it.
Otis.
Yeah.
I always say that, you never was in the forefront, you never sang in the spotlight singing leads, but you were the backbone of the Temptations. In the movie, it shows Paul wanting to get back in the band. Was it difficult to make that decision to have to move on from Paul when after he was going through what he was going through and you didn't feel that he was ready to come back? Was that difficult?
Paul was so instrumental in the Temps. See, Paul is credit for what we do on stage. The choreography, that's his uncle, that's his nephew sitting right there. Adrian Williams. So Paul was, I love Paul because he was like a solid rock to me and for me. So when he became injured, sick and ill, it really saddened me because such a hell of a force of singing and show business. I tell you something, when I knew how special Paul was, we were at the Copacabana, and Adam Clayton Powell came to see us. Now, Paul would oftentimes stop the show damn near every time when he would do For Once in My Life. So as we were singing For Once in My Life, Adam Clayton Powell, the Copacabana was full of people. That man stood up and he started crying because the way Paul was singing For Once in My Life. He put so much emotion into his song that everyone in this room would feel it. So to lose to Paul Williams, irreplaceable.
So, unfortunately, I wasn't old enough to be there to see the Temptations in person. So most of my view of you guys came from the movie. So my question is, can you walk us through that point where you guys came to Motown and y'all had to come back outside and find a name and like the struggle of coming up with the right name? And
Oh, sure. Well, at first, Barry saw my group, which was at the time called Otis Williams in the Distance, and we were with a very small label called Northern Records. The lady that ran it was Johnny Mae Matthews. So we became very disenchanted with her, and as fate would have it, we used to do a lot of rock and roll shows, and we were at the St. Stephen's Community Center doing, promoting our record, and Barry came in with the Miracles, and we were very impressed with what was happening. So to get back to the point, we became disenchanted with Johnny Mae, went to Barry, because Barry gave me his card and said, Otis, should you leave your group, I'm at your company, come see me, I'm starting my own label, which we did an extra amount of time later. We were, Johnny Mae kept the name, The Distance, so we said, hey, we're young, keep the name. And so we called ourselves the Elgins for a few heartbeats. Found out it was another group called the Elgins. So the guy, one of the attorneys, Bill Mitchell, I never will forget his name, and at that time, this was before David Ruffin, Al Bryant, Eddie Kendricks, Paul Williams, Melvin Franklin, and myself. We were standing out in front of Motown, and we were kicking around names, and Bill said, what about Temptation? I said, I like that. I want to be called the Temps. So I asked the Temps, and there again, Paul. I said, Paul, what you think? Paul said, hey, Otis, our name is whatever we make it. Let's go with it. I said, so let's do that. So Bill called upstairs because there was another 2-story family flat. Legal department was up on the second floor, and he had the young lady come and lean over the banner. He said, put on the contract, the Temptations. That was 1961, and from that point all the way up to now, and which, I own the name. So, but it was a very interesting, time of going through all that.
All right, got a question for Ron. Mr. Tyson,
Yes.
I remember very vividly the first time I saw you, and I told you that outside. I'm not going to repeat the whole entire story. But as a comic myself, I've been put in situations, stressful situations, go out there at the drop of a hat type situations. For those that don't know, if I'm not mistaken, your first time at performing and being introduced as a temp was at Motown 25 special. How
Otis shaking his head saying no.
No, we did the 55th Academy Award.
We did. I thought we did the Motown 25 first. Oh, okay.
How
My
was
bad.
it for you, your first time going out, knowing that you are the newest member of the Temptations, and you got to hold it down?
Well, I tell you what, I was scared as hell. But I was, we were backstage, and you know I had been in rehearsal for a couple of weeks' notice, and they had told me that, well, hey, we're going to go to Portland and Seattle, kind of break you in and get that going that way. But then one day he called me and said, look, it seems as though a TV show has come up, so we won't be able to do that. So we're going to have to go right to doing this TV show. And I'm like, TV show? You know, so as we prepared for it and we got there and we're backstage and we're standing by the steps waiting to go on, and Martha Reeves was standing next to me. So she said, well, Ron, you know, everybody's going to be watching you tonight. So I said, watching me, why? She said, because you the new kid on the block, so everybody wants to see what you coming behind Eddie Kendricks. I'm standing there and saying, why in the world did she tell me that, you know? So as we're getting ready, you know, Smokey announced, you know, ladies and gentlemen, here they are, the Temptations. We had to go up these stairs and over. So as we're going up the steps, I'm saying to myself, feet, don't fail me now. We're going up. So when we got out, you know, and I knew the Four Tops because I did an album with them. So as we got out on the stage, you know, all I wanted to really do was get to that microphone and say, voice don't fail me now, you know. But, you know, it's been good, and I've been here 35 years, so I'm assuming that Otis, you know, is okay, he's satisfied with it, you know, so.
So for those that don't know, two magical things happened on that TV show. The first was Michael Jackson debuted the Moonwalk, and the Temps battled the Tops.
Yeah.
Until Michael went into that moonwalk, we had, excuse me, y'all.
Y'all closed that down.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all closed
We
that
kicked
whole
booty
thing
that
down.
night.
Yeah,
but then here
closed
come Michael with that moonwalk, and I said, okay, he got it.
That was the passing of the torch?
Yes, he did.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Yes, we did.
I have a question, actually. Right here. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can't ask yourself a question.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. So we were talking about Ron's introduction into the group. What's it for everyone here? What do you look for when you're introducing a new member into your legacy?
You know what? I get asked that often, and when I give the answer, the person would always look at me in a quizzical, kind of like, "What?" I said, "I don't look for talent first. I look for head and heart. You can have all the talent in the world. If you can't take direction, you will negate that talent. So talent is third. I've been around a whole lot of. I'm last man standing. Not to say I'm smart and kind of, but you know, I let matter what should matter. You know, so that's what I look for: head and heart. I asked Shelley, my manager for a whole lot of years, why he named his company Star Direction. If you are an actor and you cannot take direction, the producers, the directors, whomever, will not call you back again. He said, so that's why I call my company Star Direction. You have got to be able to take direction. If you don't, you will not last.
Got a question.
Hey, I want to tell you something about this brother right here, Terry Weeks. Terry's been in, what'd it be like? Terry's been in the group. How long, Terry? 20?
Well, when I got out of jail.
See?
20-something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in L.A., it was a beautiful Saturday afternoon, and I got tired of sitting at home, so I said, I'm going to go up here to one of the stores that I always would buy shoes. So I went in there. They didn't have anything that I wanted. So as I came out of the place, Terry was with a couple, a man and his wife, And I guess the young lady recognized me. She said, Mr. Williams, do you have a minute? I said, yes, I do. She turned to Terry cold. She said, cold, brother, sing, go for it right here. So now all of us know about Donny Hathaway.
Yes.
If you're going to sing a Donny Hathaway song, you better know what to do with it or leave it alone. This brother started singing Donny Hathaway. So I'm listening with my good ear, and I'm turning this way. And I'm saying, this boy can sing, good Lord. And I turned to him, and I said, look, man, give me your number. I'm going to call you. We got to do something. Now, he didn't think I was going to do that.
That was the Hollywood brush off.
I called him a few days later and got him in his group. He had a group called For Lovers Only, which I named one of the Temps albums after him. And they had a hell of a CD. Motown just didn't get behind it. And I said, I can't let this brother go because to hear Terry sing, oh my goodness. Yeah, man. Boy got a voice on him. Boy got a voice. Yeah, so he's been with me. He's like Tyson. He's like a steady rock. You know, he keeps us balanced. So talk, bro. Oh, you got a phone. You can talk.
Can we have the baseman on the end there, Mr. Willie Green? Willie Green. Question for you, sir.
Yes.
Prior to becoming Temptation, who were some of the artists that you worked with?
Let's see. George Harrison, Dolly Parton, Lyle Lovett, Ry Cooder, Jackson Brown, Bonnie Raitt, John Fogerty, The Little Mermaid cartoon. I've been totally blessed my entire life. But this is the ultimate right here. Because when I was 5 years old and I saw Otis and them on Lloyd Thaxter, you know, back in the early 60s, your hit was The Way You Do the Things You Do and Get Ready was the new release. And when I saw those guys stepping and dancing and looking sharp, I was a temptation for life. Little did I know I would actually become a temptation. Thank you, Jesus. I love you for the blessing. And Uncle Ronnie, he walked me right on in the group with all the threats. Don't mess up. Don't make me look bad. But no, him and Otis, Ronnie and Terry are my heroes. And they welcomed us with Larry and me with open arms and taught us everything we need to know on and off stage. I love you guys.
There is a fifth member, Larry Braggs. I think he probably went on to where we're going, to D.C. But so there is 5 of us.
Yeah.
Question?
Howdy. This is Darnita from Tacoma Radio. Hi to all the Temps.
Hey. Come on. Hear your voice.
I like microphones.
All right, come on.
Okay, over here. So, Dr. Williams, since you mentioned that you own the Temptations name, what's your feeling on all of the Temptations reviews that are performing? Do you feel that it detracts from your legacy? Because you have so many groups like Temptations Review featuring Glenn Leonard, Damon Harris, Dennis Edwards, all of those, and people are kind of confused. So what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, my thoughts is I'm not in love with it. You know, no, I mean, because they're treading on something that, you know, I have been laboring from day one all the way to now. So to see somebody come by and trespass on it, make my hair on the nape of my neck stand up. You know, and it's misleading and misguiding because a lot of times I've been told people go to see these guys thinking it's us, and then when they get there and they find out it is not us, I've had some say, oh no, it's not Otis and them. I'm getting up. I want my money back. You know, we have sent out cease and desist. When you pick up a phone to call a lawyer, lawyers start at like $800-900 an hour. You know, so after a while you have to try and do the best you can. But no, I'm not in love with our name being, fluctuated around like that. You know, but thank God, I think on the real side, most people will know who the real Temps are. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Got one in the back.
It's like, it was a big part of your, like, I would say, I'm sorry, I'm lost for words because I'm a huge fan. Like, since I was little, sing Ohio, since I seen the movie, I've just been a huge fan. But, like, the forehead microphone stand, it was like a part of your legacy. see. You know who y'all were, and y'all, I really don't see any performances with y'all implementing. So why is that?
I tell you why we got rid of the four-headed mic. I gave it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in '91. The reason we stopped using it because it was unique at the time that we were using it because no other group before and since then ever had that kind of microphone set up. But as time would have it, it just kept us right confined, you know. So after a while we said, man, we need to spread out more. So that's why we let it go, because we wanted to open ourselves up rather than everything we do would be right there in that little spot. But I have to give credit to the late, great David Ruffin, because as they were preparing us for the Copacabana, we were rehearsing, and so we just, talking a lot of stuff. And so David said, man, I tell you what would really make us unique if we had a headphone, a microphone, a four-headed mic just for ourselves. And the late Lon Fontaine knew of a company that would make it for us. Turned out it was the Star Trek people that made that was back during the 60s. So that's how that came about. But that's why we stopped using it, because we used it. The microphone would get a whole lot of applause even before we would come out. When Benny Wellborn would take the microphone. That is Billy Wellborn. Yeah. He would take the microphone. We were at the Apollo, and the curtains would be closed. Benny would have the mic out, and when he would bring the mic out, you would think that the Temps were out there. I mean, the people were going crazy over the microphone. So when they opened up the curtain and 5 of us were standing there and went into position to the mic, it just was really, fantastic thing to see. So I think it was things like that kind of set us apart from a lot of other groups.
I got one again. So in the mid to late 70s, it was around the end of your first tenure with Motown, and you went over to Atlantic for 2 or 3 years, something like that. Right. You had mentioned before that Motown was a family, especially in the beginning. Right. What was the difference in mood switching from Motown to Atlantic?
It was like night and day. I bought a lot of Atlantic records and things. I was pretty steeped in the knowledge of Atlantic records. But Motown had a uniqueness that will never, ever be duplicated, regardless of what company, even today. Because, we went there and we recorded about two CDs, albums for him. But Barry, that's how I met Tyson. Yeah, because he did our first single, In a Lifetime. And Dennis Edwards didn't come with us, he stayed behind, and Louis Price, but Barry said he always had a feeling that we would come back to Motown. In 1980, we did, and then we came out with Power, because he had sat on that song for a long time, and he just knew no one could pull it off like the Temps, but Motown was such a unique entity that when we were at Atlantic, wasn't the same. I mean, they received us well, paid us real big money and all that to come there, but no, it was great for us coming back to Motown.
Any more questions out in the crowd?
How about the choreography and the uniform? Who's responsible for that?
Well, there again, for the choreography, Adrian's uncle, Paul Williams, because when we first started singing, we would just stand and sing, I mean, there was no one in my estimation that could out-sing us, But one day as we were rehearsing, the first song that we started rehearsing was 100 Pounds of Clay by Gene McDaniels. So as we were singing and bip, bop, bam, getting down, so Paul said, oh, hold up, fellas. We're not just going to be a group that can stand there and sing. We're going to dance, be exciting. We're going to sell sex. And Eddie said, sell sex? Paul, what the hell are you talking about? And Eddie, I never forget, Eddie said, Paul, I can't dance. I'm too damn stiff. But he said, that's all right. We'll take care of all that. But Paul Williams was the one started us for the choreography. Now, Eddie was in charge of the uniforms because Eddie was a natty dresser. The brother could dress his behind off. So by me I said, Eddie, you be the uniform man. Paul did what he did for choreography. Melvin was finance. He would make sure the money was together. David, we didn't give David nothing. We just said, you just sing, David. That's all we want you to do. But those credits go down to Paul and Eddie for what they did.
Thank you all for your wonderful questions, and please give a round of applause.
All
for
right.
everybody.
Oh, well, my PR man has spoken. Yeah.
Here it is. Right there, baby.
Uh-huh. Yes, sir.
Temptations all the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the one and only, the Temptations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
The proceeding was made possible by the Victor Talking Machine Company and music fans worldwide. Investing in Victor means investing in musicians and their music. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel for the latest updates on Victor Talking Machine Company's mission to change the music industry. Visit victorrecords.com to discover new Victor records and artists, and make sure to visit our catalog of Victor home audio instruments. Look for the dog on your next Victrola, record player turntable, Bluetooth speaker, headphones, and more.